You wrote in the book that your father had a big influence on your life. What lessons have you learned about life from your father?
When you ask that question, I remember Customato when I was with him up in Catskill for all those years. He used to say to me, Teddy, you learn through osmosis. I believe there's truth to that if I know what osmosis is. And but it sounds good.
Yeah.
But I learned through osmosis with my father. He wasn't a big talker. He was, he was a doer. And I when you're around someone who lives a certain kind of life and does certain things, it penetrates.
He was a doctor.
He was. I'm going to sound like an idiot right now because I'm being a son, but he was the greatest diagnostic doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, if I say I ever knew, what's that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you a doctor? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? But other people have told me this.
Yeah.
Like just legendary stories.
He would do house calls and he'd help people. And like you said, a lot of people have spoken about the impact he's had on their life.
He built 2 hospitals, and he built a hospital before the Verrazano Bridge in New York, connecting Brooklyn to Staten Island. And he built it so people could get proper hospital care that couldn't afford it, period. And everybody looked at him as eccentric.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, because he would literally sneak patients, not sneak them in. He was Dr. Atlas. He could do what he wanted to a certain extent, but he would bring patients in without administering, putting them through administration. So there was no charge because they didn't have anything. They were street people.
Yeah.
They were. I remember being. My only way to be with my father was to go on house calls.
Yeah.
Or to go to the office. There's no, and so I went on house calls with him. And he did house calls, by the way, till he was 80, and $3. I mean, it was better than like McDonald's. You know what I mean? I mean the deal. $3, and you got medicine, you got everything. But he used to, right around the holidays, there was just certain things that I didn't understand, but I understood later, where we would just drive certain areas. And he just all of a sudden opened his door. He would pick up these homeless, and
Help him.
I'm 10 years old.
Yeah,
move over, and
it's just you, him, and a homeless guy.
A couple.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, whatever he could fit in, 3, 4. Yeah. Whatever it was.
That's a big heart.
And then he took him to the hospital, dropped him off. So, I would ask questions after it was all over with. I'd say, Dad, they're sick. He goes, well, not in a way. Well, you put them in the hospital. So he said, yeah, and he tried to explain things to me. He would try. He didn't talk much unless you asked him something.
Yeah.
And that kind of works. And, don't talk unless someone asks you something.
Yeah.
And he explained to me that he said, I said, well, why are you putting them in the hospital? Then, and of course the sickness was they were alcoholics. But why you put them? It wasn't an alcohol rehab, So why you put them? And it wasn't for the purpose to dry out. He wasn't trying to cure them.
Yeah.
Let's put that before we anoint him for sainthood. Like by Teddy Atlas. So I was like, we finally get to the point. Why you put them in there?
Yeah.
Well, because it's the holidays. All right. Why you put them in there? Well, the holidays, are good for certain people and bad for others. And it was always before the holidays. It was before Christmas, before whatever, and New Year's, whatever. And so I said, why? And he said, because they remind certain people, of what they don't have. Yeah. That other people enjoy the holidays because of what they have, family, whatever, and it reminds them their mind is that.
That's pretty profound.
Yeah, and then I don't remember because he didn't use the word suicide, but I got it. Like he basically, I forget how he said it, but like I just got it. I don't know how I got osmosis. I don't know, but I just got it. Like so they don't hurt themselves.
Yeah,
that's what came across
in every way.
I don't think he ever articulated that, ever verbalized that, but yeah, they don't hurt themselves. So well, how does that work? Well, just basically, they're going to be around people. They're not going to be alone. They're going to be around people. They're going to get fed. They're going to be warm, right? And it's going to be for 3 days, 3 days, whatever. and it's basically it's a bridge. So, and the funny thing is, a 10-year-old, I wanted to, I want to be connected to him.
Mhm.
So I enlisted myself in the job. When he used to drop them off, he would take them, get them in, right?
Mhm.
And and then the thing that I know, again, he didn't say nothing, but you notice things,
Mhm.
and if you care enough, you don't notice nothing if you don't care. But if you care, if it's important, you notice. And this guy was important to me. I didn't know what a hero was. No
Yeah.
clue. I loved Mickey Mantle. I loved Willie Mays. I loved Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I never ever connected them in my mind as heroes. Never. My father, I didn't connect it that way, but
Looking back now, you
looking
could
back,
say,
he was my first connection to a hero.
the two of you ever talk about how much you love each other? The
So
word love?
one thing that was not allowed. The greatest memory I have my father showing me love
Yeah.
was we were down in Florida at an airport, and we were. I was born in Miami. Don't ask me. I was passing through, and the rest of my family is born in New York, Staten Island.
Yeah.
And so I was supposed to go back with him, right? And I wanted to stay with my mother for whatever reason, and so he, he of course conceded to it, and he's okay, whatever, and very quiet, and this is a man who never showed emotion to anyone.
Mhm.
I mean, for the most, really.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he just turned, and kissed me on the forehead, and left. And I was like, that's different.
Yeah. You still remember that, huh?
Yeah, like that's weird.
You lost them 30 years ago. How did that change you?
It made me realize that some of the deals I used to make with God weren't realistic. When I was a kid, I used to make deals with God. Let me die before my father. And then, you get older, and you have kids, you're blessed. Why did you make that deal? You know what I mean? Like, thank you for not taking me up
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You miss them?
I miss them in moments when I'd like to know what to do. And, I remember when I would drive with him on the house calls, he didn't listen to music. He was a guy, he read books to when he got older, he
Yeah.
read books till blood vessels was broken in his eyes. He only read nonfiction books, science. He loved science, wars,
Mhm.
generals. I mean, I cheated on a couple book reports because of him, because I didn't do the reading of the book the night before. I had a freaking book report to put in.
Yeah.
Dad, I got a book report to do on the War of Stalingrad.
Yeah.
Really, the War of Stalingrad.
Yeah.
And who the freak could tell you where you
Yeah.
get an A? I got an A.
Yeah.
I just wrote what he told me. He told me generals, he told me times, he told me strategy, he told me about the winter that came and destroyed the Germans.
Yeah.
And the Soviets were tougher
You got an A.
and the Soviets were tougher than the Germans, and the Germans picked on the wrong opponent.
Yeah.
I was already in the boxing business.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Matchmaking, very important.
Yeah.
They mismatched. They made a mistake with the picking the opponent. And so when we would be driving in the car, my father would be in a trance. And Dad, he wasn't ignoring me
Mhm.
at all. He was just with his thoughts.
Mhm.
He was wherever. He wasn't even hearing the radio no more.
Mhm.
I always wondered where he was. I did. So I asked him one day.
Yeah.
And just so we're driving, I said, I want to know. So I said, Dad, what do you think when you're basically in this place? That I know you're somewhere.
Yeah.
Where are you? What are you seeing? I actually said, what do you see? And he said to me, I see what could be. I see what could
Yeah.
be. And I'm like, oh,